Quake got open sourced. So I came out in the 90s sometime, I think. And at some point it was open source, but then I think somebody took it and they must have modernized it a little bit in that they added graphics libraries and stuff and then build files so people could play with it. And the next year, and how did you find the support of it?
The base person, it was from Phil actually. So I think he searched around for the most modern one, most modern port of Quake, and then he found it, Quake Spasm. And then the only thing that missing is the actual game files. I mean, the actual asset game. So I searched around, I found that there is a shareware version of the game. So yeah, I used that and put them all together, and that works.
Yeah. Yep. So then we have a Quake port that we want to add some multiplayer features to using the AccelByte platform. So we'll do like obviously multiplayer. So add some matchmaking in, and then also some things like achievements, leaderboards, statistics. Yeah. So heavily augmented with some AI assistant, I think.
Well, I use Cloud a lot. I use AI a lot to make this work. We can say that I'm vibing the whole way, actually. Yeah, almost everything. Except until the token runs out, then I do it manually. Before that, it's all vibing. So what I did first was make it work with CMake. I think this quite simple because every setup or every project setup's already there in project file that the AI can read. That's why it's easy to create the CMake list. Once that created, I tried to build on Windows and Linux that works. And then the next thing I tried was creating the C++ SDK. So I took C++ SDK from the repository, CTP, this one. It will produce the binaries. Binaries here, and I just simply copy it to that part, this folder here. But I found that actually the code that is currently in master doesn't produce the CMake folder here. So I actually made some modification in the CTP SDK so that it can produce the CMake folder here. What this CMake folder does, it acts like a glue actually to make it easier for the CMake that is in the Quake to recognize the game SDK rather than hooking it manually, mentioning the library one by one. I rather modify the SDK to create CMake file here so that the CMake here can have easier time. So that's what I did. And yeah, it is installed here. And then the next thing, I just simply make some modification again in the CMake list so that it will add the AccelByte SDK, this one. So yeah, I add this option, and for every requirement like CTP file that you need to add, and then the libraries, it add everything. And then you try to compile, and that works up to that point, up to compiling. The next thing will be to call an actual function. And to do that, I told the AI to see the whole architecture of the Quake game so that it can understand better of the architecture so that it can find correctly where to put the code. I decided to put it before the main menu. So before the main menu, the player needs to press any button before the main menu show. So I use that as a trigger to log in. I told the AI that what I want. And then it put the code into menu, if I'm not mistaken. Well, that's fine. Login with device ID. Menu. So this is where it calls the login with device ID. And yeah, before it can call this, actually it creates two files. So it creates the AB integration CPP, this file. And then the interface AB integration H. This is a C interface because Quake is using C. So you need C to talk between the SDK and the game. But the body actually calls C++. Up to that point, it works. But it will hang the game while it's make call, because Quake is single threaded, so any call will be blocking. So it blocks the game when it's making login call. So yeah, at that point the token runs out. So I I do the multi-threading myself. After that, I create another file, edit task runner here. So this will delegate or put any task into a queue that you can run later in the main thread. It's simply just put any callable, any function, put it into a queue, and then this queue later will be executed here in execute task queue. And I simply call execute task queue inside the tick here. There is a tick AB update here, and AB update is called every tick here, host yeah, host frame. So host frame is called every tick. So that's that. So now the login call, the login with device ID call will happen in a thread, and then the callback, this one. Previously, this is simply just calling it native like this. So this is what make it block
Yeah.
like. So I make it run asynchronously, and then simply make the callback runs on the main thread.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that.
So is it kicks off a thread that would then puts something back in the task queue when it finishes?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I assume then with this you can no longer just open the solution file in Visual Studio and build it because you only did this CMake stuff to include the SDK, right?
Yeah. So everything is going through CMake now. So that means the solution file is already updated.
Good to know. Cool. So I think interesting places to go from here would be to be able to log in a user. I guess the SDK is taking care of the device ID.
It is actually creating the device ID here.
Okay.
Get it from the
But it's
machine
consistent
machine GUID,
okay.
and then it's combining some other thing. I just simply say yes to this, then yeah, that's fine. Any string will do. So
So as long as we get the same one every time we run it on the same machine, that's
yeah.
great. I think the most fun thing would be to put like a do stats and leaderboard or something. And then I think the other thing is also obviously doing some sort of matchmaking. I think the other piece would be trying to report stats up because presumably it's keeping track of at least like frags and or some sort of statistics, right? And so pushing those up to our stats service then lets us like keep an aggregate across more games, and you can have like a. I think you could do interesting things with that.
I think Rusting will be try to build this, but just simply make sure that we can build. Okay, let's try to launch. Okay, we can build successfully.